Welcome back here to another special edition of Sonny and D, a product of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Sonny Spira, myself, Dan Tortora, and that play on words, Sonny D, something that I always had growing up. So Sonny and D here with you, Progressive Dental, 51 Front Street in Binghamton, one of the numerous locations you have here in the Southern Tier for Progressive Dental. You can get more information by going to progressivedentalny.com. We are here with Binghamton High School's volleyball team, and I'm very happy to have Alana Hadden here with us, as well as Madison Oliveri, and we will have Coach Sam up here, Sam Hadden, in just a few minutes, and obviously Sonny and I will be speaking with the ladies. And so Madison, since I know that you're so much looking forward to this moment, I'm going to hand you the mic first. What can you say about where it all started with you for volleyball? When did you start to get into it?
For me, it started in 8th grade. It was just at first just a simple, oh, come play volleyball. Let's go try out for volleyball. And instantly it just clicked and I fell in love with it.
What about it clicked that made you fall in love with it when you said it just instantly happened?
It was just so fun being on the court, volleying, of course, with my friends. I've made lifelong friends that I've been friends with since I started the sport.
I think it's like the best intro ever to hear that it clicked immediately and that you've formed these bonds through it. I mean, I would venture to say that based on what you've just shared with us, life wouldn't be the same without volleyball.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are some of the closest friends that you've made?
Sammy Stanton, Sophia Shepherdson, my besties.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Alana, how are you?
I'm good.
Where did it start for you?
I've kind of been playing my whole life, but I didn't start competitively playing till 7th grade, and I knew that was what it was for me. Like, I loved the sport, and I was so excited to be able to play in 7th grade.
And for you, starting in 7th grade, when did you fall in love with it? Was it an instant feel, like Madison said, or what was it like for you?
I kind of grew up playing it because my mom played while she was in high school, and so my aunt was a coach, so I learned a lot when I was younger, and I just grew up loving it, and it made me love it even more when I could competitively play with a team.
What are some nice words you can say about Mom?
Don't laugh.
Who's right off camera. Yeah.
She, back when she was in high school, she was selected. There's only, I think, a select number of students selected from New York to go play in a Hawaii volleyball tournament. So she was chosen from New York to go to play in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I want to go. So you kind of grew up in, we'll call it a volleyball environment, right? You said your aunt was a coach, right? And sometimes that can be a turnoff. Like I know for myself with my son being a player in a different sport, it was almost like pressure. Did you feel any pressure that you had to play?
Not really, because I knew that I loved it, but definitely if I didn't like it, I would have been like,
little less at the dinner table, like, okay, you only get one drumstick, kind of thing. So as you've gotten, so you started in 7th grade, did you start playing school ball? Did you play community rec centers? Where did you start?
I started playing for Binghamton in 7th grade, and I didn't start playing club till 8th grade.
Okay, so you started 7th, that's modified then, modified
Yeah.
level? Okay. And the rules, as we've learned, the rules change a little bit as you move on, right?
Yeah.
So did you advance? Like, did you play JV at an early age? What was your progression?
So I stayed right on path where I should, 7th and 8th grade were modified, and then 9th and 10th were JV, and 11th and 12th are varsity. But I definitely had to, learn more on so the net raises once you get past 8th grade. And while I was in 8th grade, I had to learn to serve on a regular size net, not a shorter net, because I started playing club.
Gotcha. Okay. So let me ask you, Madison. So as you started in 8th grade, so you started playing modified, I'm assuming?
Yeah,
Okay. And what grade are you now?
I'm a senior.
You're a senior. So have you played right on through?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you the same track? Did you stay 7th and 8th modified, 9th and 10th JV? What was your
Yep,
path?
I stayed. I didn't start till 8th grade, so I played 1 year modified,
Okay.
and then 9th, 10th JV, 11th, 12th varsity.
Okay. Now, what position do you have a favorite spot? Are you a hitter? Or
I
you
love being an outside hitter.
outside hitter.
Yeah.
Ever played libero?
Nah.
No. Okay. All right. Because both my girls played, so I remember watching them. I love the change in the scoring system since I
Yeah,
was
no,
a
I
kid.
like being right up at the net.
That's great. Okay. So in your training with this, are you able to do anything in the off season with volleyball?
Yeah, there's always been open gyms, and I've attended when I can. Up until COVID, I've played other sports,
Mhm.
travel softball for about 8 years.
Okay. So you play softball as well?
Not anymore, but yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, ever since the pandemic.
Okay. Do you have any sights on maybe playing a sport in college, club sport, anything?
If I got the opportunity to, I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And you said you're a senior, so what are your interests moving on?
I'm keeping my options open to college-wise, but I know I want to major in nursing.
Nursing.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. But we could use you. Let's see. Let's ask Alana. Similar questions. So now your senior year.
Mhm.
What have you found? Like, what are some of the positions that you like the best?
I'm a setter and a right side hitter.
Setter and a hitter. Okay. So have you been the libero at any point?
No.
Okay. Does your team use a libero?
Yes, we do.
Okay, I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, "What's that weird uniform?" It's like took me a little bit. So you like set? So you're the setter. She's the keeper girl. Okay, all right, gotcha. Okay, so in now being your senior year, are you thinking? I saw the softball and the volleyball on your Crocs there, so I'm gonna assume you played volleyball as well.
Yes, I play.
Excuse me, softball as well.
Yes, I do.
Okay. What do you think? Are you thinking anything in terms of beyond high school?
So I am going to Misericordia University,
Oh, great school.
and think I'm gonna play a club sport
Yeah.
of either volleyball or softball. Well,
Yeah,
not
club sports are great. What do you think in terms of majors?
I'm
Right.
gonna major in sonography to be an ultrasound technician.
Fantastic. I'm gonna let Dan take this because he has a lot of connections at Misericordia. So.
Yeah, I know the Misericordia. I went to Marywood University,
Hmm.
so Wilkes, Misericordia, Gwinnett Mercy, that whole area. So it's something that I'm very much used to, and what you want to do, what you want to get involved with in this, whereas Sonny was talking about what we need so much now. What makes you want to study what you're looking to study?
I definitely think like a lot more people need to get into the medical field, especially now with the shortages that are happening. But I just knew I wanted to be in the medical field ever since I was little, and just deciding on it was easy once I was around the actual. I went to somewhere that had an ultrasound machine, and I thought it was really cool, like what they got to do, and I really wanted to study that.
It amazes me that as this world has kind of more stress on that field, right, and just more tension there, and people working long hours and everything, that there's people running toward it and not away from it. And Alana, I think as a young woman in society, young person in society, it's important to say thank you in advance that you actually care enough to run toward helping instead of away from it, knowing that this world has been challenged these last 18 months.
Yeah, I definitely think more people should try to get into it, because I know a lot of people, especially being the medical field, I know a lot of people think it's scary and it's a lot of schooling, when not everything is a lot of schooling in medical field. Mine is only 4 years.
Fair enough. I do have to ask this question because I've had I don't want to call it a love-hate relationship. It's been a dislike relationship with Crocs. But what are your, obviously you have them. So do you have a lot of pairs of Crocs? Is this the only pair? I saw one of the Syracuse football players earlier today was wearing a very interesting version. So is it one of your things?
Yes, I have 4 pairs of Crocs.
4 pairs of Crocs. Okay.
You know what they wear in the medical field a lot, right? Crocs.
Yeah, they do. They must be comfortable. That's what I hear all the time.
Yeah, they are.
All right, Madison, for you and your future, where do you see yourself when it's off the field, off the court of life, outside of sports, where do you really see yourself?
I see myself owning my own beauty bar, like
Okay.
being an entrepreneur, owning my own business.
You go, girl.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. As a business owner of 9.5 years and a business owner
30.
of 30 years, you know,
See this gray hair?
there's something to be said about working for yourself and knowing that your vision and your mission is kind of, I mean, it is not kind of, it's your own. You know, you can create your
Yeah.
own way.
I kind of like to call myself a little bit of a free spirit. I don't see myself kind of working a 9 to 5.
Okay. Could you work?
I'm my own boss.
Okay. And with you having, I mean, do you have anyone in your family that's involved in the beauty world, or is this kind of your own thing?
Not as much the beauty world, but I have family who owns their own businesses. My uncle, he owns Peterson's Tavern right down the street.
That's your uncle?
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I know your uncle really well.
So what have you learned from your uncle and you know, people around you that own their own business?
I learned even if you come from basically nothing, anything could be done. You just gotta work hard for it, and almost nobody's gonna help you but yourself. You
Yeah.
gotta aim for it by yourself.
In the beauty industry, why?
I'm dramatic. I'm a princess.
I like how real this conversation is. It's so real.
I love everything beauty, fashion.
Okay, fair enough. Do you have an inspiration? Do you have a company or an individual out there that you feel it has inspired you maybe with this?
No, I've just seen like a lot of beauty businesses, and it's always just like I've always been drawn to it.
Do you have your own style already? Do you already kind of know how you would attack it?
Yeah, I want to be able to do like Botox, fillers, extensions, all the pretty stuff.
Okay, fair enough. Would it be here in this community? You want to go somewhere else? Where do you want to be?
I'm not too sure on that yet.
Okay. All right, but we gotta watch out for it. You have a name in your mind?
No.
Not yet. Okay. Think about it. It's homework for next time. So to get back to the world of volleyball, how has this sport that you fell in love with, you know, instantly, how has it brought out the best version of you, Madison?
I've learned that even through the hard times, you just gotta look for the good in it, because there's always gonna be good memories even throughout the hard times. Like even going through a season where we haven't won a game yet, I've created some of the best memories of my whole high school experience.
What do you do to handle the adversity?
You just gotta smile through it, push through. Just remember that it's only one day.
Yeah. How does
Yeah,
a
make the best
princess
of it.
deal with adversity?
Not always the best. I'm a little dramatic, but I always try to give the best attitude.
Fair enough. Alana, for you, what can you say about what volleyball has done for your life?
It's definitely improved it. Like, I've made my best friends in volleyball. I've made my best memories in volleyball. And most of the places I've gone are because of volleyball. So I traveled to a bunch of different states with volleyball, and I'd never thought I'd go there until volleyball brought me there.
Where have you gotten to go?
I got to go to Rhode Island for regionals. I got to go, I think we went to Connecticut and like right around here. But it just meeting all the different people from different places is so cool.
Rhode Island is near and dear to my heart because the American Athletic used to be based there. It was the old Big East home as well in Providence. And so what part do you remember what part you went to? Because the water is incredible, and there's a place called Goat Island in Newport, which is also really nice. A ton of local places and local shops and restaurants and antique places. Do you know where you went?
I don't exactly remember the town's name. I'm really bad with names.
Okay.
But I remember it was right near Brown University.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Do you have a favorite place that you've been to?
My favorite place that I've been to has probably been Rhode Island because of how like old when I went, it was like so old but yet still new, and I really like that.
I do, and I can understand that, the old but new. Tell me something good about Madison Oliveri.
Maddie, even though she's a princess sometimes, she is very funny, and she's always making us laugh on the court or in practice. And she's just somebody that's really fun to be around.
Fair enough. Madison, tell me something good about Alana Hadden.
Even when, especially me, gets down on myself, Alana's always there to pick everyone up and always has a positive attitude and aspect to everything.
All right, positive attitude makes people laugh. Love it. We have a part of the show, and Coach, you're going to be involved in this as well, so make sure you pay attention to what's happening in this moment. It's something that I've done on my show for years, and it's called Rapid Fire. It has nothing to do with sports, nothing to do with volleyball. I could feel her energy change. And so I felt it. I felt, oh, my God. So what Rapid Fire is, don't get scared, is that not only do we put you on the hot seat, but you can put us on the hot seat. It's a couple questions apiece, and it could be about literally anything. It could be about food, music, movies, pastimes, places to visit, family. But it's just a fun way to get to know you a little bit better and get to know who's representing our wonderful, wonderful Binghamton High School. So I'm going to let Sonny start things off and ask you a couple questions, and we'll go from there.
All right, I'm going to start with Madison. First of all, you do want to come back to the 607. I'm just going to put that plug in there. Just keep that in the. I'll talk to your uncle. We'll put a little pressure on. Okay, so Hollywood, male, female. I don't know. I wouldn't say crush. I don't know however you want to call it. But who do you like from the male and the female Hollywood?
From Hollywood?
Yeah.
Can he be from New York?
Absolutely.
A Boogie. I love him. My favorite artist.
Okay.
A Boogie.
All right.
Do you know who A Boogie is?
I have no idea. None whatsoever.
He's
I
a
don't know why it was
rapper.
New York, could be anywhere. Could have been Hawaii. But yeah, it's fine. That sounds good. And that's male or female? I don't
He's
know.
a male.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm right in there. I'm good.
So now you get to ask him one. You get to fire back and forth.
What's your favorite sport?
My favorite sport is basketball. Sorry, it's a little
Yes.
easy for me. Sorry, yeah. Okay, let me ask Alana, or should we do one more? Okay, let me ask Alana a question. All right, Alana, if you could go anywhere in the world for 7 days, all expenses paid, unequivocally anywhere, where would you go?
I think I'd go to Ireland.
Nice. Why?
Just because my family's from Ireland, and I think it's a really cool place to visit. I've always wanted to go.
Do you know what part of Ireland are from?
No clue.
No. We went once. It's a beautiful country. We went from Dublin to Galway, and we did. It's just it's a phenomenal place to visit. It's great. You'll love it.
What is your favorite movie and why?
Ooh, my favorite movie. I have a whole bunch, but I'll say off the top of my head, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah. You look at me right crazy, right? Because it was in the 70s. Okay, so yeah, long before you guys were a thought. It's a great movie, won Academy Award, but it's a very heartwarming movie. It's very funny, but it's very real. It talks about people that are in a mental institution at the time that ultimately didn't belong there. And when you looked at them from the eyes of normal, they were normal. And it was really cool. And it had a horribly sad ending, but it was a great movie.
Oh, yeah, very much so. All right, Alana, I'm going to stay with you since you have the mic. What is one thing, if you could change anything about the world, the entire planet, what's the first thing you would change?
That is a really hard question. If I could change anything about the world, it would probably be medical expenses, just because I know how hard that is for most people. Because I know there's a big thing about insulin being free for diabetics and healthcare being free. I think that would just really save everyone a lot of time, a lot of stress, a lot of worry about instead of living from paycheck to paycheck, maybe they could have a little bit of room in there and actually be able to do something instead of just living from paycheck to paycheck to paycheck and having the worry of the medical bills being if they're overdue, or I need this by this date and I have to collect all the money for it.
Well, I love that you gave that answer, because to me, when it comes to anything, cancer, I mean, there should never be do we have the means to do it? I don't think anybody suffering from anything should suffer. I don't, Magic Johnson has HIV and over 2 decades ago, over 20 years ago, and he's still here. Yet so many people die in the process, but he has the money and he has the means and he has probably the network and the connections. I don't like the thought that someone could die just because they don't know the right people or they don't have the money.
Yeah, that's the same thought. Like, they shouldn't be stressing about something they can't control themselves and having to pay for something that they can't control that happened to them that they didn't know was going to happen.
Yeah, I had to get my heart checked this past year because my EKG, it looked like, I didn't know this, but the doctor said it looked like I had a heart attack. And what it was is the levels were going high and then low, and they did like 30 EKGs, and he's like, that's just your heartbeat, I guess. And I said, well, I guess I beat to a different drum, like for real. But it was, I had to go into they put me in an ambulance, $2,200 to go maybe 12 minutes,
That's
$2,200. It's crazy. So, yeah, I mean, I totally get what you're talking about. What's your first one for me?
If you could spend the day with one person, living or dead, who would you spend the day with?
Make me get all emotional. I would say all my grandparents have passed. My grandmother, called her G-Mama. On my mom's side, she lived to be almost 101. And we did everything together. So I would want all of my grandparents. My grandfather's died when I was 6 in the same year in 92. Not a fun year. And that was kind of a blur. And the only things I remember are things about them that year. There's like 3 things about them, and that's it. So I would want to see them. And if I pick somebody outside of my family, I would spend, without question, 24 hours with Robin Williams. I love making people laugh. I have a lot of things that I think of that I love to throw at him. I just love to know what life would be like to sit with him for a day. So thank you for the question. All right, Madison.
Who's A Boogie?
He's a rapper from New York City.
A Boogie with the hoodie. Did he drop that, or is he still got?
I just call him A Boogie.
Just A Boogie, yeah. I'm a Drake fan. That's why. One word, simple.
I got that one.
You're not a fan?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. All right. I like Drake. But my first question for you, Madison. Okay, let's stay with beauty. Who do you think has the most flawless look in Hollywood?
Rihanna.
Okay, why?
Rihanna?
Why?
Yes.
That took a second.
It did nothing, because I know.
Instant.
I know. I would like to think after almost 18 years of doing this that I can gauge where people are going, maybe. And she just hit it. No,
look in the
because
air.
if this is what you want to do for a living, you got to know,
She's so natural.
Yeah.
Everything.
And she's scary. You know what I mean?
She
She's
has
a boss.
energy.
She does. There's
is.
I can't say the first word, but blank better have my money.
Yeah.
I listen to that a lot in the car, especially when I have to drive through traffic.
It just makes you feel like a boss.
Yeah, it does. I love it. So what's your first one for me?
If you could have one thing free for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One thing free for the rest of my life. Internet, because the internet stinks in upstate New York. It's awful. I will not call. There's 2 reasons why I won't say their name on here. I hope you'll be okay with this. I don't say their name because they don't work with me, so I'm not going to give them a free advertisement, but it wouldn't be a good one anyways. I call them Rectum. That's what I call them. That's their name on my show. Their internet is atrocious. It's horrible. And the thing is, they're the only place in town for a lot of people, especially up in Syracuse, so they take advantage of that. And they rose prices twice during the pandemic, and their service got worse. They actually tanked in service and raised their price, which is the opposite of what you should do as a business.
Yeah.
So as a business person, you would know that if you're going to raise your price, you probably should raise what you do.
Yeah.
They have gotten incredibly awful. So I would say free internet for the rest of my life. There's a lot of other things I would do, but I had to hit on that because this week's been a trying week when it comes to the internet. Right, Sonny? Final round?
There you go. All right. So
I hope you don't have anything with it.
No, I do, but I've had more than my fair share of battles and continuously do. And like you said, there's not a lot of alternatives, and we have fiber optic cables. And actually, in this office, we have a different provider because there's a different provider that comes here.
I'm
And
thinking
we
about
were
literally getting the box.
so
where you have
happy
your
to
own
move it.
internet.
So happy to move. So we'll ask one final question,
Mhm.
and we'll ask just one, and this could be to either of whoever feels comfortable answering it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. What's your favorite food in the whole world?
Chicken Alfredo. I love it.
Okay, Alana, I want to get yours too.
The same thing.
Both chicken Alfredo? Is there a place you go to? Or is this homemade?
I like my homemade one.
Okay.
Yeah, I like when my mom makes it.
Okay, chicken Alfredo. All right, now you can both kind of team together to ask us a question that we both have to answer.
What is your favorite memory you guys have together?
Oh, favorite memory together. We've known each other for a minute, haven't we?
Yeah.
My favorite memory with Sonny Spira. I would have to say, well, there's two. I think with doing what I do, I always hope to build like real, genuine relationships. I want people to know that I care. I'm not just calling Sonny because he played at Syracuse for, on the basketball team. Like, I want to really build a bond and not just be a typical media person. It's not who I am. I love making my world smaller and smaller. And speaking with Sonny, you kind of like you build these relationships and you hope on your side that they're real. And then I don't remember like what day it was, but he just, he called me brother. He told me like, I appreciate being on your show. And he just said a lot of really kind things that made me feel like, I had gone past that guy that's interviewing him to that person that he respects as a friend. And I hope to do that with everybody. I would say my other favorite one is when we met each other for the first time, because we talked on the phone a lot. And that was in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. And I remember coming around looking for Sonny, and he's standing there. And I remember thinking to myself, because I'm 5'8", I was like, dang, this guy is way taller than I thought he was. So I would say that too. What's yours?
I would say there was a time, in our friendship and relationship where Dan was not feeling himself, and he kind of reached out to me, and that's when I said, yeah, this is way more than just a business relationship. And I remember just talking to him and not having great words of wisdom, but just being able to listen, which is something I've always struggled with doing and being better at, and then just offering some advice that don't make a permanent decision based on a temporary emotion or something like that. So, and that sounds way wiser than what I did at the time, but it was something along those lines. So I can tell you it was a little while ago.
Yeah, it was actually at the beginning of like pandemic time. And I had stuff going on in my life personally before that happened. And so healthy mind, healthy body, healthy mind, hand in hand. That was something that I was just starting. It was like the first 10 days or so that I was trying to really figure things out. And then I changed my life over the last 18 months. Not that I was anything crazy. I was good to other people. I wasn't good to myself. And I had to kind of find that inner love and that peace. And Sonny helped me get there. And I remember exactly where I was when he was talking to me on the phone. So I remember where I was in my neighborhood. So with that being said, for Alana as well as Madison, you guys did a fantastic job.
Great.
We're going to hand it off to Coach right now and have Sam come up here so you're all set. You're good. You did it.
Madison, you were a rock star.
Yeah.
What are you worried about?
Yeah, you both did incredible here as we have Coach coming onto the scene. I'll bring Coach in here. Coach Sam, how we doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing very well. And so I guess first and foremost, you can tell us, how do you think these young ladies did?
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
It-
Same answers that I would probably pick for them.
Okay. Now, do you feel, when you say same answers you probably pick for them, obviously, Alana, it's easy to do that, but with the rest of the team, with Madison and everybody else, how important is it for you to build genuine individual relationships where they truly feel that you know who they are as people beyond volleyball?
That actually means more to me than coaching in itself. I've known Madison and three other seniors, because we have 4 seniors. The 3 other girls, I've known them since 5th grade. And last night, as we had senior night last night, and they spoke about me in their speech. Like,
Yeah.
thank you for being there. I know you'll always be there for me. So that means more to me personally than it does coaching.
So you hear them speak about you on senior night and what you mean to them. What words resonated with you from their speeches?
One of the girls that's not here, she said last night, just thank you so much for always being in my life since the 5th grade, and I know you will continue to be there for me even when I go off to college.
And having that, I mean, do you kind of get lost when you're coaching and you're just kind of going through the run of things that maybe you hope that you're having an impact like that, but maybe you're not focusing on it? Like, did last night make you stop and say, wow, what I'm really trying to put out there, you are picking up what I'm putting down?
Yes, because there's sometimes, of course, when you get coaching is you're in the moment, you're in the game. Sometimes I do yell a lot, but that's part of it. But even like last night, the girls gave me a card. Like, all the sentimental things that they wrote in the card will stick with me. Even though sometimes I feel like I'm not 100% the best coach, just because it is intense for me, and I love the game that much, and I just want them to get better.
Yeah.
Like, even at practice, like, a couple girls, I'm like, left arm, they know they have to put their left arm up. I don't even have to, all I gotta say is left arm. They know exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes I feel like I'm nagging at them, but it's only because I care about them and I want them to do better.
That tough love that you have for your players, how do you try to make sure that they know that when you're yelling, when you're adamant about something, when you're very animated, that it is coming from a place of, hey, I love this sport so much and I care about y'all so much? Because they say that coaches, when they stop talking to you and they stop pushing you, it's because they don't see anything else in you. They feel like you've gone as far as you can go. So when you are getting heated and getting into it, do you feel like that comes through, that your players know, hey, I see more in you. I know you may not think it's there, but I could see just a little bit farther that you can go. Do you feel like they get that?
I think they know. Absolutely.
It was good to hear you say those things as a coach, as a fellow coach. I know exactly where you're coming from. You beat yourself up way too much.
Absolutely.
But those relationships will last forever. If anything I can pass along, that it never changes. So be ready for a lot of wedding invitations and a lot of birth announcements, etc. along the year. So graduations, college, you name it. So
Business opening.
yeah, right. And opening up the beauty bar and stuff. That's awesome. So what are some of the things that you hope to do as a volleyball coach? What were some of your goals personally when you took the job?
To build a whole program. Yes, I'm the varsity coach, but it's not just about varsity. It's about JV. It's also about modified. And even younger than that, I would like to build a program. Like, they have softball for the girls, and that's actually where these girls met, and we met them at first is when they were young and playing softball, 10 and under. I want to do that for volleyball. There's not anything out there for it, and I would love to do that, and actually that's kind of in the works. So
wonderful. So in building that program, are you a booster too? Is that part of the plan, like trying to get a booster program too?
Yeah, we're just in the early stages of
It's hard.
everything, but absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have any coaches or mentors that you were able to talk to that help guide you or give you any opinions?
Yeah, my aunt was my coach growing up, and stuff that I remember her doing when I was younger. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing the same thing. But she's actually really helped me a lot. So.
Fantastic. So, is there anybody? Are you able to get, like, to ask Coach Mead the same thing as swimming? Are there any clinics or anything that you're able to get to?
I'm sure that there are. Especially with the pandemic, it's a little bit harder.
Right.
There are actually more things online. If you can't make a Zoom meeting or anything like that, then you can always look at it later.
And how long have you been coaching at Binghamton?
This is my second year, actually.
Second year. What have you seen change from your well, it's hard to say with the pandemic, but what are some of the things that you've seen yourself as a second year coach as opposed to a first year coach?
Actually, to be honest with you, this year for the fall sports, we had the most numbers come out for any team for volleyball. And I think that says a lot about the whole program and the coaches that we currently have.
Yeah, I think if you inject life and energy, I think it comes back to you. So I think what your thought, I was glad you said that about the program, because I think so many people think, well, you're just a volleyball coach, you put an hour a day, 2 hours a day, and they don't understand when you're trying to build a program, the effort and time involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
So as you move forward, what are some of your long-term goals with your program?
My long-term goals right now, I would say to have the best program that we can have. Right now we're not on the top just because they're only getting it 2 months out of a year playing, where they could be doing it longer. Travel is very expensive for girls to play, and also for the boys, to be honest with you. There's been a couple boys on different teams. One of them actually, now he can't play. So I would also like to do like a boys club team. That way it's not a girls only, because it is a different sport between boys and girls, even though it's volleyball. The net's higher, they swing differently, they swing harder, So
with the university here, is there anything you're able to use or tap into there?
I'm sure there might be, but nothing that I know of yet, personally.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, with Division I know that they have some funny rules with coaches and stuff. I'm not sure what it is at volleyball. I think with some of the transition that they've gone through recently in their administration and stuff, I know that different programs have a community effort, and with it being Binghamton, they usually are very responsive. So hopefully you'll see that happen.
Yeah.
Coach, for everything that we've tried to figure out the last 18 months, I mean, it's been trying. And when you talk about 18 months, a year and a half, you talk about second year, the majority of your time, as Sonny alluded to, you're spending in this world that's been extremely strange. Wondering if people were eating the toilet paper that they were taking because there was so much that was gone, and realizing in Syracuse that Jif peanut butter was the peanut butter of choice because it wasn't available anywhere. Pull apart Pillsbury chocolate chip cookies. It was interesting to see what people were taking. But what did you take away from the last 18 months? How did you navigate this very unique time period?
It was actually very hard. Because I would still go into work. My husband would still have to work also. So us going in and possibly, seeing people, bringing that home, having her at home all day long too, it kind of changed our lives because it was an eye-opener. Like, you don't know what's going on. Things can change in an instant, and you just got to plug through every day.
As a leader, inevitably, your team is going to look to you for answers. We've been living in a time where we don't have the answers. How do you lead when you're steering a ship and there's fog everywhere, essentially?
I'm just upfront and honest, and I'm sure the girls would say yes to that, that I might not have the best answer or the correct answer, but this is how I feel this should happen.
So how did you try to keep the team together? I know Zoom has been a big thing for so many people. Seemingly felt like it didn't exist before the pandemic. But how did you try to make it fun? How did you try to keep their spirits up?
Just trying to make things, quote, normal for them. It was hard because, especially with Binghamton last year, we had to get tested so much, and the girls were all worried about that, and even a little bit this year. But just trying to, you're actually able to play. Like, our season was not taken away from us, and you're able to play. So you show up, and I will show up here for you. I will keep pushing you. If you want to get better, you just let me know what you want to work on, and we'll push and push.
I don't know if you're aware of it, but Binghamton had, I think, the strictest testing policy I've ever seen in a high school or even heard of.
Absolutely.
What was the policy?
Last year we had to get tested 3 times a week. If we didn't get tested, it didn't matter if we were vaccinated or not.
Yeah.
If we didn't get tested, then the girls couldn't play or the coaches couldn't coach.
Yeah.
3 times a week.
And that was like the ACC policy for Syracuse and all them. And Syracuse fought for stricter testing, but I think they were 3 times a week within the Atlantic Coast Conference. So one of the most prominent conferences collegiately, Binghamton High School was right on pace with that.
Yeah.
So, going through all of that and, like you said, trying to keep things as normal as you could, you didn't lose your season. So many people did.
Yes.
I've talked to coaches, be it high school that lost a season, or looking at some of the colleges. One of my good friends, Jason Leone, who's at Oswego State for men's basketball, he did not get to coach his team for over 700 days.
Oh, wow.
Which is, I can't even fathom that. Like if somebody said to me, hey, you're not going to broadcast for 700 days. I don't know what I would do with myself.
Right.
So for you to not lose a season when so many people did you feel that weight on your shoulders to say, hey, yeah, we're playing for Binghamton. We're playing for us. We're playing for the community. But we're also playing to maybe show people around the country something positive. Did you feel that hey, we're in a small group that's actually getting to play?
Absolutely. And was it hard sometimes, like making sure all the girls get out there and get tested and putting their mask on and wearing their mask? I mean, is it hard coaching in a mask? Absolutely, but I couldn't imagine being a player in a mask. Like I'm just standing on the sidelines talking, yelling at them, and they're running around and they still have to have the mask on. So absolutely, I was so grateful that we did not have to cancel the season, and I would try everything that I could do so we were still able to play.
What does it mean, before I hand it back to Sonny here, what does it mean to represent Binghamton High School? How would you describe, when you wear that B across your chest, what does that do for you mentally, emotionally? How do you carry that?
It's something huge. I do not take it lightly by any means. And even like, it's so funny, like we do summer things for volleyball, like one day of the summer, and the modified girls that I don't really know will come up to me, hey coach, how are you? Nice to see you. Like, just impact on the community.
Fantastic. And in terms of in that district, now you're not a teacher, correct?
No, I am not.
So you don't have that ability to see the kids on a daily basis. So let me ask you that, because I was the same. I wasn't a teacher and I was a coach. So what are some of the things that you think are advantages and what do you think are disadvantages to not being a teacher in the school district?
Advantages sometimes is not being around the kids all day long. To be honest.
Well, you said that very nicely. Yeah.
Because some of them are, a little bit harder than other ones. But the disadvantage is not getting to know the ones that you really want to know a little bit better.
Okay. And when you took the job, was that ever a question or an issue?
No.
Okay.
No.
What are some of the things that you're able to do to help overcome some of those barriers?
I don't even know. Like just even being at school for practice and everything like that, we'll have different sports hang out in the hallway. Hey, can I come in and hit a ball? Can I, anything like that. Having all the kids, this year they had a really good fan club this season. We were able to have more than 2 people come per athlete. They opened it up. So that was really nice. And just seeing the kids there, now I'm starting to get to know them, being at the school 5 days a week.
Great. The other question is, how's her chicken Alfredo?
Alana is a cook, so and my husband cooks. So
she didn't share that. I thought she said.
So it's not mine. I won't take props for that one.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, with that being said, we're going to jump into our final portion of this broadcast here that we have with Binghamton High School's volleyball team, and very happy that Madison and Alana spent some time with Sonny and I, and we have Coach here for a couple more minutes, Sam Hadden, and we're going to jump right into rapid fire. You can ask us both one question. We will ask you one question apiece as well. I'll start with you, Sam. And we've spoken about so many different things, but I want to live in the world of music with you for a second. If there's 3 songs that you had to listen to in the car for the rest of your life, which ones would they be and why?
I Hope You Dance by Garth Brooks.
Okay.
That's my mom's favorite song.
Okay.
I'm really not a music person, unfortunately.
Okay.
And Kenny Chesney, I would definitely say. Any one of his songs.
Okay. All right, Kenny Chesney. So staying with country.
Yes, absolutely. I'm a country girl.
All right,
I didn't grow up here.
Fair enough. What's your one for me?
Who inspired you to do what you're doing today?
Man, I have a strong faith, and I don't hide that. So I'd say God inspired me to be who I am. I would also say that, I don't know. This is not an ego thing because I don't have one, but I wanted to be my own inspiration. I didn't need somebody to kind of go before me, and I wanted to be the precedent. I didn't need somebody to set it. I've kind of learned with God that when I see a paved road, I don't even look at it anymore because I know He wants me to cut through the trees. It was always like, hey, you're the road maker, not the road, the road that's already paved to take that one, the road taker. And so I think for me, what inspired me was waking up every day and saying, like, what are your dreams to myself, and how are you going to chase them? How are you going to get there? And 18 years of broadcasting in November, I still don't feel like I barely scratched the surface of everything I want to do with music and movies and screenwriting and some other things. So, I would say you inspire yourself, and that's what consistently makes you better. I don't compete with anybody. I compete with me, and that's it. Who was Dan Tortora yesterday? Who's he going to be today? And then if we're blessed to be here tomorrow, what am I going to do tomorrow? So, yeah, I would say that's an inspiration. If I had to pick anybody outside of that, I would say, I said the mentor that didn't even know he was my mentor was Stuart Scott on ESPN. Because as a kid, 10 years old, I watched him and Rich Eisen and laid in bed, and when I was afraid of the dark, and I'd turn my TV on and I'd go to sleep to it, and I'd wake up to it. And Stuart was never afraid to be himself. His catchphrases were his own. Like, there are people that steal stuff, and there's people that create. Mm-hmm. And they say imitation is the highest form of flattery, and I just think imitation is annoying. So with Stuart, I just love that he didn't imitate anybody. And when you want to step out and say something and have your own catchphrase, your own thoughts, you have to be willing to be laughed at because you're going to do something that nobody's doing. And he never seemed to care. He just did it with love and passion and a childlike fervor. And, it just made me really happy to see somebody do that and have that. And he was a constant reminder to me to not be afraid. I would say that.
Okay. Question for you. We're talking to Madison about staying in the 607. What is your reason for staying in the 607?
My reason for staying in the 607, at the time when I graduated and came back, I looked at jobs. I looked predominantly in Syracuse, and I looked here, and I felt there was a better opportunity here. Now, knowing what I know, it's nice to have family somewhat close by, because when you have kids, when you have things, and it's nice to be able to have that help around. But I also think it was nice to come back home and then to, on a different level now, try to make a difference. Not just have a business, but actually give back to the communities like this program. Things that I think we can do, or I'm in a position to help. And then it's helping people that help me. I got where I got with help along the way and a lending hand, so I can be that hand for certain things. So that's ultimately what I see now. Well, what I saw then was there was an opportunity, and I thought it was better here. Okay, so Sam, I'll just give you a hypothetical, okay? If you could spend an evening dinner with anyone in history, not family, who would you spend it with and why?
I'd spend it with Derek Jeter.
Okay, why?
Why not?
I'm feeling the heat wave. Go ahead.
No, really. I think he was by far one of the best all-time players on and off the field, and showed what it really meant to be a true captain.
I like that. I like that. And I'm not even a Yankee fan.
So with that being said, for Sonny and D, Sonny Spear and myself, Dan Tortora, a product of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, presented to you proudly by Progressive Dental. We're here on 51 Front Street in Binghamton, and all locations and more information on progressivedentalny.com. For the Binghamton High School volleyball team, I am very impressed. Honestly, of all the shows I've done over the years, this is, and I'm not saying this because you're here, this is one of my favorite shows because each of you showed your personality and inspiration, and there's something about when a person is honest, it just, you feel that. So for Sam Hadden, as well as Alana Hadden and Madison Oliveri, a future business person here, a future Ireland traveler, and a future, dinner with Jeter.
That's right.
So we look forward to everything that's coming up here. Thank you to Progressive Dental. Thank you to Binghamton High School. Make sure you support your local student athletes and support your coaches. Thank you so much, Coach, for taking some time, and thank you for bringing the girls out.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it.
Very authentic.